Discover the incredible transformation of a billionaire's daughter, failed by 10 tests. Inspired, Emma Caldwell stood at the balcony of her glitzy mansion in Glen Ellen, staring at the perfect lawn that seemed to echo her internal emptiness. The sun dipped behind the horizon, casting a golden tint on her family's empire, an empire she felt trapped inside. Her father, a titan of tech, preached legacy and status, yet all she felt was suffocating loneliness. It was as if the wealth that should have set her free only wrapped her tighter in a gilded cage. The rejection letters from Ivy League schools were like daggers in her heart. "Are you even trying, Emma?" Her father's disappointed voice rang in her ears as tears blurred her vision. 10 tests, 10 failures. She wondered if she had any worth beyond the money that defined her existence. Was she doomed to be the failure of a billionaire's daughter? Determined to carve a path away from her family's expectations, Emma took a leap into the unknown. She accepted a summer job at the local community center for veterans. It was a stark contrast to her lavish life, where a designer purse was more common than a heartfelt conversation. On her first day, she was met by George, an elderly war hero. His hands trembled slightly as he spoke, but his eyes sparkled with tales that transported her far from her worries. Each story he shared was a testament to struggle and resilience, revealing hardships Emma had never known. She saw single mothers juggling jobs to make ends meet and veterans battling ghosts from their past. Each encounter nudged Emma toward a reality where privilege didn't define worth, but effort did. Just as her heart began to swell with newfound purpose, tragedy struck. The community center faced a funding crisis that threatened its very existence. The space that had begun to feel like home was at risk of closing, and with it, the friendships she forged. Panic twisted inside her. Could she face the community, the very people she had come to admire? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. Emma felt her heart race as the reality settled in. This wasn't just a job, it was a lifeline. She gathered her co-workers, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Together, they brainstormed ideas that sparked hope. A community fundraiser. They envisioned a vibrant event that embodied collaboration and camaraderie. Could she really leverage her family's wealth for something bigger than herself? But whispers of doubt hung in the air. Could the billionaire's daughter be trusted to advocate for the voiceless? As the day of the fundraiser approached, Emma stood at the brink of uncertainty. Her heart thudded louder than ever as she prepared to face the crowd. Would they embrace her? Or would they see her as just another privileged girl trying to play savior? Glancing at George, whose steady nod of encouragement fueled her strength, she stepped onto the stage. The silence swallowed her whole, leaving the audience hanging on the edge of anticipation. Was she ready to confront her past, to redefine success in a world that measured worth by wealth, or would she retreat into the protection of her privileged bubble? Emma took a deep breath, feeling the weight of 100 eyes fixed on her. The spotlight was harsh, cutting through the shadows of self-doubt that clung to her. It was time to transform her fear into something powerful. Each person in the crowd had a story. They were not there for her surname but for what they could achieve together. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she began, her voice trembling slightly but gradually gaining strength. "I stand before you not as Emma Caldwell, the billionaire's daughter, but as someone who needs your help as much as you might need mine." Gasps echoed from the audience, her vulnerability surprising them. She shared her journey, the 10 tests, the constant comparisons to a legacy she felt too small to carry. The better she articulated her struggles, the more she felt the crowd leaning in, connecting with the honesty of her words. "This community center means so much to me. It's not just a place, it's a family. One that I want to fight for." The audience shifted, and she noticed a few nodding along with encouragement. George beamed from the corner, pride radiating from his features, the strength of his life stories echoing in her own. Emma pressed forward, painting a vision of the fundraiser. Ideas flowed as she spoke about games, food stalls, and local artists sharing their talents. The event was a chance for everyone to unite, to celebrate their resilience. But as she spoke, the shadows of doubt flickered in her mind. Was she taking on too much? What if no one attended? What if it all fell flat? An old woman in the front row raised her hand. "Emma, I don't have much, but I can bake cookies." A wave of laughter followed her declaration, breaking the tension. Another voice chimed in, "Count me in for the crafts booth." Emma felt relief wash over her. The crowd buzzed with excitement, energy rising. They began brainstorming details, with ideas flying like confetti. This was not just her fight, it was theirs too. As the meeting wrapped up, Emma felt lighter. They had agreed to meet every week leading up to the event. She had finally forged connections that transcended wealth. With each promise exchanged, she felt a sense of belonging she hadn't realized she was missing, but just as joy began to settle in, a chilling thought pierced her mind. What would her father say if he found out she was using his resources? The pressure of his expectations loomed heavy over her happiness. Would he support her newfound mission, or would he see it as another failure? The next few weeks promised to be a whirlwind of emotion and growth. Emma had a chance to prove herself, not just to her community but to herself. Would she face her father with confidence, or would she retreat back to the shadows? Each step forward felt like a tightrope walk, the thrill of success mingled with the fear of falling. Emma found herself clenching her fists, the stakes higher than ever. Just then, a message pinged on her phone. She glanced down. It was a notification from her father, and her heart dropped. "Emma, I need to talk to you. There is something important we need to discuss." What did he want? Anxiety twisted in her stomach. Would he support her or crush the fragile hope she had built? Facing uncertainty, Emma took a deep breath, realizing that whatever was coming could change everything she'd just fought for. With rising determination, she prepared for what lay ahead. But as she did, she wondered, could she truly redefine her legacy on her own terms? Emma stared at her phone, the words jumping out like a dark shadow casting doubt over the light she had begun to find. What was so important that it couldn't wait? Her fingers trembled as she swiped the screen, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. Would her father dismiss her efforts? Would he demand she abandon this community project, claiming it was not worthy of their family's name? She inhaled deeply, trying to fight off the rising tide of anxiety. This was about more than just her. It was about the connections she had begun to foster, about those eager faces who had shared their talents and dreams with her. Biting her lip, she made her way to the kitchen, hoping that a cup of tea could settle her rattling nerves. The kettle hissed to life, and as she waited, Emma's thoughts turned back to the meeting from the night before. The excitement had surged through her, each suggestion from the crowd lighting up her spirit. But would her father see it that way? Would he diminish the significance of what they were trying to build? The kettle clicked off, bringing her back to the moment. She poured the hot water over herbal tea leaves, letting its soothing aroma fill the air. Yet her heart felt heavy. A sudden determination sparked within her. She couldn't let fear dictate her path anymore. As she sipped the tea, her phone buzzed again. "Emma, are you free this afternoon? Please come by the office." There it was again, the weight of that message hanging in the air. Office, a place of business, not warmth or understanding. What could he possibly want to discuss there that would be more important than her project? She set down her cup, her heart pounding as she contemplated her next move. She could go in and allow him to pick apart her aspirations, or she could stand her ground. The vision of the fundraiser was brighter than ever in her mind, alongside the pride of working with the community. She wanted him to understand. She needed him to see that this meant everything. With every bit of courage, she sent a quick reply, "I'll be there." The office was downtown, and as she drove, she avoided the reflection of herself in the rearview mirror, wishing she could muster the confidence that usually accompanied her father's presence in the business world. Each red light felt like a countdown to impending judgment, and the thought made her stomach twist. Upon arriving, she barely took a moment to adjust before stepping inside. The familiar scent of polished wood and expensive cologne wrapped around her as she approached her father's office. He was standing by the large window, watching the busy street below, always the businessman, always analyzing. "Emma," he said without turning, his voice steady. "Dad," she started, but the words felt lodged in her throat. Slowly, he turned to face her, his expression inscrutable. "I was impressed by your speech at the community center. But we need to talk about how you plan to execute this event." Emma took a deep breath, heart racing, ready to defend every detail she passionately crafted with her community. But before she could respond, he continued, "Are you prepared for the implications of using our family's name?" Bang! There it was, the unspoken fear she had kept pushing away. "Yes, Dad. I'm prepared," she asserted, even as her voice shook. "I want this. I need this." He studied her for a moment, and she felt the tension brimming in the air. Would he crush her spirit with his next words, or could this be the moment she had been waiting for? As silence enveloped them, Emma's heart raced, filled with both hope and dread. The answer that came would decide her fate. Would she find a way to make him grasp her vision, or face the fallout of his disapproval? The moment hung delicately, till finally her father spoke. And in that moment, everything could change. As she stood there, waiting for the words that could either lift her up or bring her crashing down. "Emma," he finally said, taking a step closer, "I believe in your passion. But passion needs a strategy. This isn't just about your heart, it's about our family's reputation, and I need to know you have a solid plan." There was concern in his voice, almost a protective edge, but it felt like he was still tethering her to a past she wanted to move away from. She opened her mouth to reply, desperate to convey the brilliance of her ideas. "I do. I have, a proposal. A detailed plan with the budget, community partnerships, everything." She pulled out a folder from her bag and handed it to him, her hands shaking slightly. The thick stack of papers felt lighter than air, yet heavier than any weight she had ever held. That he flipped through the papers, his brows slightly furrowed. She watched as his expression shifted from skepticism to curiosity. Every page she had painstakingly crafted with love and determination flashed through her mind. Each partnership secured, each resource dialed in. This was more than just a fundraiser, it was a chance to bridge gaps, to connect people, to celebrate unrecognized voices. "Do you really think they'll support you?" he asked, pausing between the pages. The words stung, but Emma steeled herself. She wasn't a child seeking approval anymore. This was her vision, her community. "Yes," she said firmly. "I believe in them. They need this to feel valued and seen. And I won't let fear, or my last name, stand in our way. I'm going to do this, Dad." His gaze softened slightly as he scrutinized her passion. "You're willing to risk everything on this?" "Yes. I need to try. I need them to know they matter." The weight of her own conviction flooded through her, filling the space between them with a palpable energy. She wasn't just advocating for herself anymore, she was voicing the hope of so many. He placed the proposal on the table, his fingers lingering over it like he was weighing the options. Emma held her breath, waiting for the verdict that would unravel everything they'd talked about before. Would it be disappointment again, or something she hadn't dared to dream about? After what felt like a lifetime, he spoke again, this time more thoughtfully. "All right, then let us refine this plan together. I'll help you secure sponsors and set up a meeting with the board. But you've got to promise me to involve me from the start. This is new territory for you, and I've been through it." Emma blinked, the disbelief settling over her like a warm blanket. "You mean you'll support me?" "Yes," he replied, a ghost of a smile breaking through his serious demeanor. "But remember, it's a partnership. You need to take charge." The flood of emotion overwhelmed her. Excitement danced within her chest, battling against the echoes of doubt that had clouded her heart. Her father's approval was a gift that felt almost too good to be true, but was she ready for it? "I promise," she said, her voice steady, determination blooming within her. "I'll make this count." As they began to discuss the next steps and the potential impact, her father's insights guiding her enthusiasm, the world outside the office seemed to fade. Emma couldn't help but think of all the people who were counting on her. But just as she settled into this newfound hope, her phone vibrated with another message. The familiar weight of concern settled back in. "Emma, we need to talk about the venue. There's a problem." Heart pounding, she shot a glance at her father. What now? Could this shadow over her plans become another hurdle, or would she find the strength to overcome yet another challenge? Emma's heart raced as she stared at her phone, the screen lighting up with urgency. The vibrant optimism they shared moments ago seemed to flicker uncertainly. She felt the warmth of the moment retreat, replaced by a chill of dread. "What do you mean there's a problem?" she managed to ask, her voice quaking. Her father's brow knitted together, his gaze sharp. "Do you want to take this?" Nodding, she answered, "Yes. I need to know." As she took the call, the words of her friend and colleague, Sarah, floated through the receiver. "Emma, the venue we discussed, it fell through. The community center doesn't have the necessary permits to host such a big event. We were relying on this space. If we can't get backup, we might be set back by weeks." Stomach tightening, she glanced at her father, whose expression mirrored her own tension. "Okay, let me think," she said, her mind spinning. This was a cornerstone of her vision, and without it, everything could unravel. "What about the old auditorium down by the park? It's larger and could accommodate the crowd we're expecting," she suggested hopefully, recalling how vibrant and full of life it had been during community events. "But it's not available on that date," Sarah replied. Emma could hear the stress in her voice. "We need to come up with something fast. Some sponsors are already hesitant." Emma hung up, the news settling heavily over her. "We're going to find another venue. Let us brainstorm." She turned to her father, trying to channel the belief he had just offered her. He nodded, shifting into a more practical mode. "All right, let us list every possible location we can tap into. Churches, schools, any public spaces, what else?" They huddled together, tossing ideas back and forth. Her father's experience guided them, grounding her youthful enthusiasm. Each suggestion sparked a memory, the warmth of a past event at a community center, the laughter of families around vibrant booths. Emma could see in her mind's eye how the event would connect people, heal rifts, and uplift voices. As they scribbled down venue names, Emma could feel the familiar flicker of doubt creeping in. What if we can't find a place? What if this all falls apart? Her father's hand on her shoulder broke through the haze. "Emma, every challenge is a chance to get creative. Remember, this plan is yours. Your belief in your community is what matters most. You can't let one setback deter you." His unwavering support sparked something inside her. "You're right. We'll figure it out. I have to keep that fire alive." They moved into action, researching on their phones, making calls, seeking backups. Hours slipped by in a whirlwind of determination and energy. Just when hope was beginning to dim again, a text came through from Sarah. "I think I have a lead on an art gallery in the next town over. It's a little outside our original plans, but it might just work. Let me check the availability." Glimmers of excitement flickered in Emma's chest. That could be it, she exclaimed. Art could bring a whole new dynamic to the event. As they waited anxiously for Sarah's reply, Emma couldn't shake the sense of dread that still loomed. Was this venue just another nail in the coffin of her dreams? Before she could voice her thoughts, her father squeezed her shoulder again. "Whatever happens, remember this isn't just about finding a venue. It's about what you're trying to achieve. You're not alone in this. Your community is behind you." Just then, her phone buzzed once more, and Emma held her breath as she opened the message. What would it say? With uncertainty hanging like a cloud, she felt a knot twist in her stomach, anticipation flooding her body. Could this lead change everything? Would this be the breakthrough she was desperately hoping for, or would it send her spiraling down once more? Emma's hands trembled slightly as she opened Sarah's message, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The gallery is available. Can you believe it? We could use their big hall. It's perfect for what we envisioned. A wave of relief washed over her, almost tangible. Emma couldn't help but grin, the fears retreating like shadows in the wake of that glimmer of hope. This is it. I mean, it has art local artists could showcase their work. It'll resonate with the community. Her father's eyes brightened as he began to nod. Exactly. Plus, the atmosphere in an art gallery is different. It invites creativity. It'll draw people in. Emma felt the energy shift. They were finally on the right path. But then a nagging thought tugged at her. What if the costs are too high? What if we can't secure enough sponsorship? Let us not borrow trouble, her father advised gently. We can work on that once we know for sure. You can make a compelling argument for support. Grabbing her laptop, Emma dove into research, eager to learn more about the gallery and its potential. It was a bright, modern space, with clean lines and expansive walls perfect for displaying vibrant art. In her mind, she could already envision tables filled with crafts, local food vendors, and joyous chatter echoing off the walls. Just as she started to gather her thoughts, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from Sarah. Emma's heart danced in anticipation. Hey, I talked to the gallery director. He wants to meet with us tomorrow. Do you have time? Tomorrow? Yes. Emma replied quickly, a wave of enthusiasm coursing through her. We're going to make this happen. Okay, sounds good. I'll fill you in on the details once I hear back from him. After hanging up, Emma felt that exhilarating rush. It came as swiftly as the tide. They had a meeting to prepare for. Dad, we need to strategize for the pitch. Show them our vision. Her father chuckled softly. You're starting to sound like a boss. Emma couldn't help but laugh. Well, someone has to lead this charge. They spent the next couple of hours drafting ideas, flipping through her notes, discussing what the event could mean for everyone involved. They visualized the community united under one roof, the diverse strands of life intertwining in colors and laughter. But as night fell and the first stars twinkled in the sky, a sudden chill swept through Emma. What if the gallery didn't believe in her vision? The thought was a bitter pill to swallow. Just when she thought she was steering her dreams closer to reality, doubts crept in again, whispering insidious fears about her entire plan crashing down. Her father noticed her unease. Hey, look at me. She met his gaze, her heart heavy. You've worked hard for this. Trust your gut. Trust your passion. But could she? A knot formed in her stomach as she lay down to sleep, fear mingling with hope. Morning came too swiftly. Emma awoke with determination forged by emotion, yet the knot still lingered. The meeting could change everything, but an unsettling question tugged at her spirit. Would the gallery director see the same potential she did, or would it all be for nothing? As she took a deep breath and prepped to leave, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something monumental, a turning point she hadn't fully grasped yet. What awaited them at the gallery? Would they embrace her vision or would it slip through her fingers like sand? Emma stood in front of the bathroom mirror, splashing cool water on her face. Her reflection stared back, wide-eyed and anxious. This was it, today could be the turning point of her life. She smoothed down her hair, trying to wipe away the hints of doubt still lingering at the corners of her mind. Was she ready? Suddenly, a burst of excitement surged within her. She was ready to fight for her vision. She grabbed her bag and rushed down the stairs, her father waiting for her at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee in hand. He smiled as she approached, but she could sense his own blend of excitement and anxiety mirrored in her. "Ready?" he asked, lifting the steaming cup toward her like a trophy. "As I'll ever be," Emma replied, a nervous chuckle escaping her lips. "Do you think they like our plans?" "They love them." "You've put your heart into this," he encouraged, his faith lighting the morning. Feeling fortified, she took a quick sip from the coffee. The heat spread through her, igniting her spirit further. They headed out, and as they drove toward the gallery, her thoughts raced. They discussed last-minute strategies, bouncing off ideas like two seasoned artists preparing their canvas. Upon arrival, the gallery stood before them, a striking mix of modern architecture and a warm, welcoming entry. Emma paused at the entrance, eyes sparkling with possibility. This was where her dreams would take shape. Inside, the air buzzed with creative energy. A modern painting loomed on one wall, vibrant colors swirling together. That was trust in action, the kind of trust Emma needed from the gallery directors today. She glanced around, trying to soak in every detail, every nuance of this amazing place where she'd soon pitch her heartfelt vision. Sarah arrived moments later, her face flushed with excitement. "Emma! You're here. I spoke with the director. He's ready to see us. Just remember, be authentic. Speak from your heart." That simple reminder sent warmth through Emma. No more masks, no more second-guessing. They walked together toward the conference room, and Emma felt the knot in her stomach flutter with a mix of anticipation and fear. When they entered, Emma saw two men sitting at the large table. One had a notepad, the other a welcoming smile. The room filled with modern art and large windows flooding the space with natural light, making it feel alive. "Welcome, ladies," the director said, gesturing for them to sit. "I was intrigued by your email. What is your vision for the event?" Emma took a deep breath. She felt like she was on the precipice of something big. She launched into her presentation, passion spilling forth as she described every detail: the local artists, the community vibes, the joyful spirit that could flow through the gallery. But halfway through, the doubts crept back. What if they didn't feel the magic? Would her words come alive for them, or would they fall flat? To her surprise, she glanced sideways and saw her father nodding, eyes bright and encouraging. And then Sarah chimed in seamlessly, adding layers to the ideas, reinforcing their hopes with her own enthusiasm. As the meeting progressed, Emma noticed an exchange of glances between the directors. It felt like a dance, a back and forth that swelled with both hope and nerves. But just as they reached the end, one of the directors leaned in, his brow furrowed in deep thought. "Would you be open to some suggestions?" he asked, tilting his head slightly as if even considering them was a big leap. Emma felt her heart constricting. This could go either way. What followed next would determine everything. "Of course," she replied, steeling herself for what was next. But what would the feedback bring? Would it be their stepping stone or a final curtain call? The tension hung thick in the air, and Emma grasped the edge of the table, bracing herself. The director cleared his throat, a thoughtful expression still etched on his face. Emma held her breath, every second stretching like a taut string about to snap. "Your ideas are fresh, and clearly, you're passionate. However." There it was, the dreaded "however." Emma's pulse quickened. "We believe that adding a few more interactive elements to your proposal could elevate the experience. Think of ways to involve the audience even further. Art isn't just for viewing, it's meant to be felt, touched, experienced." Emma's heart raced, a mix of relief and intensity crashing over her. This was the spark of hope she needed. "How do you see that working?" she asked, grateful for the chance to delve deeper. The director leaned back, his fingers steepled under his chin. "Workshops with the artists, live demonstrations, maybe even some artist-audience engagement throughout the exhibit. It could create a dynamic atmosphere." Emma could feel Sarah's excitement radiating next to her, a beacon of support. "Yes. We could definitely bring in local artists for live painting sessions," she added, her voice bubbling over with possibilities. Emma nodded, suddenly invigorated. Ideas began to cascade in her mind, pouring forth like an unstoppable river. We could set up different stations, engage with the community, maybe a student competition to showcase upcoming talent. The words tumbled out, and she felt the tension dissolve into a creative adrenaline rush. The other director smiled, jotting down notes, clearly intrigued. Exactly. That's the kind of energy that will draw people in, he said. A festival of art rather than just an exhibition, you know. Emma's heart soared. It was like they were weaving a fabric of dreams together, refining and embellishing each thread with collaboration. This was the magic she had envisioned. Can we arrange a follow-up meeting to discuss your enhanced proposal? The first director asked, his tone shifting to something more concrete. If you can flesh it out and present it next week, I think we could have something truly special. Absolutely. Emma's voice rang clear, filled with a brightness that even surprised her. Thank you for the feedback. We'll work hard to create something extraordinary. As they left the conference room, Sarah wrapped an arm around Emma's shoulders. You did it. They liked your vision. This is a big step. Emma smiled, a wave of warmth washing over her. She turned to her father, who stood there grinning widely. You were brilliant, Emma. Just brilliant. It felt surreal, the challenges that had once loomed so large now faded into the background. They emerged into the bustling gallery, the vibrant art surrounding them felt alive as if celebrating their moment, yet, beneath that joy, a weight lingered. Could they truly realize the grand vision they had just crafted? She felt that old thread of doubt tugging at her heart, mixed with an enthusiastic spark of hope. Next week we'll have to pull out all the stops, she murmured, determination setting in. A dark cloud brushed against her bright skies. As they returned to the car, shadows flickered across her mind. What if they couldn't pull it off? The weight of expectations pressed heavily on her. Determined to shake it off, Emma glanced at Sarah and her father, whose faces radiated pride. Would they be there to catch her if she fell? That thought alone steadied her. But as they drove away, Emma's mind churned with possibilities and doubts intertwining. How would they turn their ideas into reality? This wasn't just about art, it was about connection, community, and following a dream against all odds. And the stakes had just risen. The road ahead felt both exhilarating and terrifying as they approached a new horizon, but Emma knew one thing, she was ready to embrace whatever came next. The question was, how far would she be willing to go to manifest it? Emma's week began with a flurry of ideas. Her mind raced with the countless possibilities that had ignited during the meeting. From workshops to live demonstrations, she envisioned the gallery alive with energy, people laughing and creating art together. But amidst the excitement, that nagging doubt persisted, casting a shadow over her uplifting thoughts. All right, focus, she told herself, sitting at her kitchen table with a notebook spread open. She grabbed a cup of coffee, its warmth seeping into her hands. Sarah was due to arrive any minute, and they needed to organize their thoughts into a coherent plan. This was about more than just her vision now, this was about their shared dreams, the community they aimed to engage, and the legacy of art they wanted to create. When Sarah burst through the door, she radiated enthusiasm. I brought snacks. We need fuel for our brainstorming session. She plopped a bag of colorful treats onto the table, her eyes sparkling like the candy wrappers. Perfect timing. Emma laughed, immediately feeling her mood lighten. They dove into the details, drafting lists of local artists and discussing potential themes for interaction. The conversation flowed effortlessly, filled with enthusiasm and laughter. Yet, as they sketched out ideas, Emma's thoughts drifted to potential hurdles. What if they couldn't get everyone on board? What if the artists didn't share their excitement? Her heart thudded in a mix of anxiety and aspiration as she scribbled down ideas, fighting to prevent her doubts from seeping through. Hey, are you all right? Sarah's voice broke through her spiraling thoughts. Concern etched across her face. You seem a bit distracted. Emma hesitated. I want this to be amazing. What if we take on more than we can manage? I don't want to disappoint anyone. Emma, Sarah said, leaning in closer. You're not alone in this. We're in it together. Just remember why we started. This is about connecting people through art. Everyone has their doubts, but it's how we push through them that counts. That struck a chord in Emma. Sarah's words echoed the conversation she had with the directors. It wasn't just about her. This was a community effort, a collaboration meant to inspire and uplift, regardless of their fears. Feeling invigorated by Sarah's encouragement, Emma scribbled a title at the top of her page, Creating Together, an art experience for everyone. Just seeing it on paper lightened her heart. She could almost envision the laughter and creativity filling the gallery already. Let's make a list of artists to approach first. Emma declared, her confidence rekindled. We need to get them excited about this project. Once they see our passion, it'll be contagious. For the rest of the afternoon, ideas flowed freely. They planned workshops, conceptual art sessions, and community collaborations that would not only elevate the exhibit but create lasting connections within the community. But an unsettling thought lingered, creeping back in when Emma's attention wavered. They had a whole week to finalize everything, but what if they failed? That night, unable to sleep, Emma lay wide awake, staring at the ceiling. The weight of her fears pressed down like a heavy blanket. What if they couldn't deliver? What if her vision fell flat in front of the directors again? She needed to find a way to push through this darkness. With uncertainty gnawing at her, Emma grabbed her phone. A quick message to her dad, reassuring her of their progress, could be the lift she needed. After tapping it out, she took a deep breath and laid back down, waiting for the comforting sound of his reply, but sleep wouldn't come, and as dawn crept through the curtains, Emma found herself staring into the vast unknown ahead. Who would they really become through this journey, and how far would they have to stretch themselves to reach it? The moment she put her feet on the floor, she knew they were just getting started. With a determined fire ignited inside her, Emma felt a rush of clarity amidst the chaos. They could do this. It was time to rise. What would her first step be? And how would they reshape the connection between art and community? As Emma stepped into daybreak, the first rays of sunlight streamed through her window, igniting a spark in her heart. Today was the day they would turn ideas into action. She felt a sense of resolve wash over her, a determination that pushed her fears aside. Grabbing her phone, she texted Sarah, "Let's meet early at the community center. We need to rally the local artists today." A reply buzzed back almost instantly. "On my way." The energy between them was electric. They were about to create something beautiful and meaningful, a connection that transcended their previous lives. With each stride, Emma's confidence grew. Arriving at the community center, she pushed the door open and halted in her tracks. The walls that once echoed with her insecurities now pulsed with potential. Each nook felt brimming with possibility, ready to host a vibrant festival of art, laughter, and unity. Sarah arrived moments later, her infectious spirit buoying Emma's resolve. "Okay, what's the plan?" she asked, excitement sparkling in her eyes. Emma took a deep breath and laid out their vision, the ideas she drafted now swirling in her mind. "We'll start by inviting local artists. Each one of them will bring something unique to the event, a piece of their story that audiences can connect with. And the workshops will allow everyone to experience art personally, the feeling of paint on their fingers, the excitement of creation." As they brainstormed, a mix of laughter and determination filled the room. Artists who struggled or felt invisible in the community soon filled each corner of their minds, each name sparking warmth in her heart. The thought of someone sharing their passion ignited flames of enthusiasm brighter than Emma had ever known. Hours flew by, filled with planning, calls, and creativity. As evening descended, the community center transformed into the birthplace of their dreams. Emma could almost taste the happiness. Each interaction now held significance. Every artist, every participant was a part of this family she hoped to create. The next day arrived swiftly. With Sarah at her side, she stood in front of a group of local artists, each with an eagerness to share their craft, to uplift one another. Nervousness fluttered in Emma's stomach, a familiar feeling creeping back. Yet, as she looked into the sea of faces, she found strength entrenched in shared journeys. "Thank you all for coming," Emma called out, her voice trembling with excitement. "This isn't just about showcasing art, it's about sharing our struggles, our stories, and lifting each other up." She took a moment, allowing her words to resonate in the air. Slowly, hands raised, ideas blossomed, and the room turned electric. "I want to do a live mural. Let's depict the heart of Glen Ellen," someone exclaimed. "What about a poetry corner where people can share their stories?" another suggested. Hope and laughter filled the air, and for the first time, Emma felt truly part of something bigger than herself. Days morphed into a week as they rallied around their common goal. Emma embraced every moment, forging connections with artists and community members, each interaction threading their lives together. At night, visions of their festival danced behind her closed eyelids, urging her onward. Finally, the day of the event arrived. Emma stood at the entrance of the gallery. The vibrant colors of art splashed across each wall, inviting everyone into a world woven with creativity and community. Families with children eagerly streamed in, laughter echoed through the halls, and the air was thick with palpable excitement. As she moved through the crowd, George caught her eye. The aged war veteran had shown up, his smile warm and proud. "You did it, Emma," he cheered, drawing her into a heartfelt hug. "Look around you, it's beautiful." In that moment, Emma understood. She had transformed not just her own story but helped transform others as well. The connections they had woven were real, deeper than any status or wealth, and suddenly, everything felt right. Finally, with a heart full of gratitude, she took the stage. "Thank you all for being here, for sharing your stories," she began, her voice steady and strong. "Together, we've created something remarkable. It's not just about art, it's about our shared legacy. Let us continue to lift each other and celebrate this community." The applause that followed was a symphony of acceptance and love. In this moment, amidst friends and family, Emma felt embraced in a way she had never known. She was not just the billionaire's daughter, she was a beacon of connection, a voice that resonated with her community, finally free from the chains of her past. And as the bright lights twinkled above them, Emma looked out at the crowd and couldn't help but smile. She had found her place, and together, they had created a legacy that would extend far beyond the art on the walls. Now, it's time for you to keep this momentum going. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Don't forget to comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the hope. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.